Mm. Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with Sarah Tromley. She has just shared a brand new single titled In Too Deep, and I'm super excited to talk to her all about it. Sarah, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. How are you doing?
Hey Austin, I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. It is Monday as we're recording this. I can't complain. It's the highlight of my day by far. It's always nice to talk to musicians who make great music.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So I just want to hop right into it. What is In Too Deep about? What does the song mean to you?
Yeah, In Too Deep, I wrote it with a few friends of mine, executive produced by Aaron Reed, Francis Carell, and Ellie Halverson. I came up with the line In Too Deep because it was really how I've been feeling in life, in music. Just you put so much into your career, and in a good way, it's like you just can't turn back now. Like you're in so deep that you're not going to give up. And I
Right.
feel like a lot of musicians, especially LA and so many industries, we put so much into our career here and it can be so overwhelming at times. But just a good reminder that to look back to see where we came from and not give up. So
Totally. No, I fully agree. I don't think people realize that starting out in the music industry is like the scariest thing ever because well, no, seriously, nowadays
totally.
it's never been easier to make a song. You can make a song on your phone. But it's also never been more difficult to get heard because there's so many people making music. And
100%.
like taking the plunge is a difficult decision, but I commend you for keeping on it. And it
Thank you.
obviously makes a difference when the music is good because there's a lot of bad music out there. Let's be honest. Um, how long have you been making music for?
So I have been making music kind of professionally, like in LA since
Yeah,
2018.
cool.
And then, of course, COVID hit in 2020, and it's been a little wild ever since then. But positive things came out of COVID. I finished an EP and
Right.
got some great singles out, and now the world's opening back up. I'm excited to hopefully look forward to touring and whatever that would look like. Like in
Yes.
COVID, everyone had to get creative. I did some virtual tours, a virtual
Awesome.
festival, but it'll be nice performing for people again. So
Yeah, there's nothing like that energy that comes from people like looking at you
it's the
with their
best.
eyes as opposed to the
Yeah.
screens.
Yeah.
But like you and like every other independent artist who's sort of had to pivot over the past 2 years, it's like you make it work, you do what you can, and you move forward. Like, we're all kind of
100%.
figuring it out day by day at this point, so I don't know,
Totally.
complicated. So, I mean, you've been making music for, at least 4 years now. Is there something that you did differently on this single compared to the last? Like, as I obviously listen to your discography, this one's a little more acoustic based and, like,
Totally.
it's still yeah, I wanna hear from you, like, the approach.
Yeah, so this song's really special to me. I was excited because the lyrics are a little more raw and, I just wanted the production to match that. So bringing in a little more guitar rock
Yeah,
element to it, it's really fun. Like previously, my song was a little more like hip hop pop vibe. So this
totally.
one is a little more friendly to all age groups, which will be cool to see
I
where it can
understand
go.
that. Well, I mean, no, that's a great point. It's definitely like it's built for the masses, I can say that.
Totally.
But it also, like, for any artist out there, it shows like the breadth of what you're able to create as opposed to just like, I'm a hip hop artist, I'm a pop artist. Music, like in today's age, is a little influence and genre bending of everything. It's like
Totally.
you show people what you can do and you'll attract different fans from what you put out. And I think that's kind of the way to go at this point.
Totally. I
Um,
agree. I had a little more rock element on my EP, which I
yeah,
loved, especially performing. I really connected to that vibe.
yeah,
So it's cool to bring that back.
that's really cool. Considering that this is the first official single release of the year, like besides remixes, I obviously want to keep the attention on this song, but I also want to look towards the rest of the year. I can only hope that there's more on the way. I don't know what you can say or you can't say, but I hope there is.
100%. Definitely stay tuned. I have a lot of exciting projects coming up. So, a lot of awesome people that I've been meeting with and writing with. And it'll be cool to just see. I love working with new artists that I meet along the way. So
Sure. Yeah, like it sounds like you do a lot of collaborations. You mentioned that this was also a collaboration with other producers. I just want to get that name
yeah,
out there one more
of
time.
course. Yeah, so Aaron Reed executive produced this song along with my previous single, Fake It. He's
Nice.
amazing. And he brought on a great team for me. He wrote on the song with me, but then we also brought on Francis Carell, who's super talented, and
Nice.
Ellie Halverson, great songwriting team.
Do they make
So
their own music or they're just like background
yeah,
people?
so Francis definitely does. He's super talented. You got to check him out. He's
Oh,
like the most amazing voice. Just to be in the studio with him was incredible.
awesome.
So
Where did you record this?
actually at my house.
You're
It
kidding.
was
See, that's the
COVID.
best. That's the
I know. So
best.
we were deep in COVID,
Yeah,
and I have a lot of music I hold on to for like the right time to put it out.
sure.
We wrote this last year. Like
Okay.
I would say May of last year even.
Nice.
And we were just in my house, and Aaron pulled out my acoustic guitar, and we just started like writing. And I always make so many voice memos or little notes in my phone. Like I'll be driving and something comes to me.
Yep.
And I remember I was in Hawaii when I wrote down In Too Deep. I forget exactly when, but I was just feeling a little overwhelmed about music and kind of having a moment of like meditation. And I was like, I'm not going to give up. I'm in too deep. And that's kind of how it started
That's
the
the
song.
best. Don't you
So
find that the music and the artists and just everything hits you at the most inopportune time when you're
100%.
driving? It's like there's a risk of death, and then the perfect
Yeah,
melody comes in your head. You're like, ah, shit.
exactly. I'm like, quick voice memo, pull over.
Yeah, for real, for real. No, it's you know what? That's okay because you got to do what you got to do. It's all good.
Totally. Totally.
Are you the type of artist that works on songs like one at a time, or are you always hopping around from project to project?
I actually like to hop around a lot. I do that with reading too. Like I'll start one book and then start
I
another one. I
can
don't know. I think
never.
I'm a little I have different personalities, you know what I
Sure,
mean? Like
sure.
I just feel sometimes I'm feeling more of a moody kind of depressing song. Like I love sad music. Like it's
Yeah,
just really something I vibe with. But then sometimes I want something a little more inspirational, so I'm all
totally.
over the board.
No, I'm happy you brought that up. I wanted to talk about your musical influences. Does what you listen to on a daily basis have any like influence on the music that you're making, or are you trying to go in an opposite direction?
For sure, for sure. Like growing up, I listened to a lot of like Blink 182. Lately, I've been loving like Machine Gun Kelly because he's been doing that cool like punk rock vibe. So
Sure.
originally with In Too Deep, I kind of wanted more that direction, a little Kid Leroy. Um, but daily, like I listen to Bonnie Vare, Tame Impala. Oh my gosh, like Summer Walker. Like my influences are all
Pretty
over the
much
board.
everything. Yeah.
And then
You
Ella
just
Fitzgerald, Ray
yeah.
Charles, like it's
No,
a
that's
fun
awesome.
mix.
I think it makes for a better artist as a whole. If you only listen to one style of music, chances are you branching out and trying to make something new just isn't going to click. It's not going to happen.
Totally.
But I mean, the reason I ask, and normally I don't ask about influences, I think it's kind of a played out question. But I do ask in this case because your music does really hop all over the place. And I'm honestly just personally interested because
Totally.
who doesn't want to know?
I think I just have so much fun playing with different sounds.
Yeah.
And I think the great thing is like music, I'm just happy to be here is like the best way to put it. Like I have so much fun singing and this is my job. Like I don't
Right.
even call it a job because it's just amazing. Like I would do this no matter what. And just having jam sessions with my friends and discovering new vibes and sounds is kind of the best.
No,
So
I feel the same exact way. Being on the other side of this, I get to talk to people about music for a living. There's like no
it's
greater
amazing.
job to do. So yeah. Okay. So now that you've been doing this for a while, like you're in it, you're in too deep. If I don't sound like a total
I
idiot
love it.
saying that, is there something that you enjoy the most about the entire process? Whether it be initially thinking of the song, the actual like getting in the studio and putting it down, like all the way to clicking the submit button. What stands out for you the most?
In the creative process, I love the writing process, but more
Okay.
than anything, I love recording. I love performing. It's really my best therapy is singing. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I'll just at least a couple times a week, like I'll record covers because I'm
Nice. Yeah.
also into acting a little bit. So it's really
Cool.
therapeutic for me to like kind of take on a persona and Like if I'm having a little bit of a breakup or a sad day, like I'll
Yeah.
sing, an Adele song or whatever. But I love the performance aspect more than anything. I actually re-recorded In Too Deep like 2 or 3 times just because I wanted to get different vibes and different energies. So I'd record
Okay.
it like one time I was like really happy and excited recording it. And then I was a little like depressed recording it. And it's cool to see the different textures and tones that come out in my voice, feeling different vibes.
Well, you got to
So
release the demos for the people. What are
I
you waiting
know,
for?
I know. Stay tuned for cool like acoustic versions too.
I have an
So
idea. How about 10 years from now, you put out the deluxe album and it's just like 27 different voice recordings of In Too Deep as well
I
as
love it.
everything else. Just like all the drafts on your phone, get them out there for the people to enjoy. That's kind
I
of
love it. It's
honestly
a
what
great
I've
idea.
loved so much about this last 2 years. Not necessarily from you, but just artists in general. They're like, well, we can't tour. And so we got to put out new music. So here's a live album that we recorded like a year and a half ago. Like, here you go. So there's so many of these like archived recordings coming out. It's really cool to see.
It is
So,
cool. I love that.
sure. Okay, so what do you think that your music says about you as a person? Like when people listen, what is sort of like an emotion or a vibe you're trying to give off to them?
Well, specifically with In Too Deep, like I hope that people can kind of relate to me and um sorry, repeat the question, like what kind of vibe they
Yeah, what like sort of message do you want to get across with your music? Not even necessarily on this single, but just as a whole. When people listen to the discography of Sarah Tromley, what are you trying to give off?
I just am trying to give off like confidence that like especially for young women and like everyone that you too can do this. Like especially my song My Way Up, like my story in the music industry.
Sure.
Like I lived out of my car, like I had kind of a wild upbringing of being in the music industry and if I can just be like just another girl that is doing what she loves, I hope that other people can be like, damn, I could do that too, you
Yeah.
know? Like anyone can do
You
this.
got to make it look
So
easy, even though it's one of the most difficult jobs in the
yeah,
world.
behind the scenes, it's wild, but
It's a mess. No, people think
but
that
I
you
wouldn't
just, yeah, make music and that's it, but that is not it.
but nothing good comes easy, right?
I I agree. I fully agree.
So
I want to touch on something that you said previously on touring. So shows bring you the most happiness in the world, and for myself, attending shows brings me the most happiness in the world. Do you have anything in the next few months, or even by the end of this year, that's planned for you to get out there that you'd like to shout out?
definitely. I mean, I'm definitely looking at shows, hopefully starting summer, definitely in the fall. But right now my main focus is just finishing up a bunch of music so I can go out and not just perform my EP and these 2 singles, but I have so much more music that I need to release and perform. So I'll definitely
Yeah,
keep everyone posted on my Instagram and my website. But
very
as of right
cool.
now, there's nothing I can say.
Okay,
Keep
so then
things. Stay tuned.
hypothetically speaking, let's just stay on the touring for 1 second. Let's say,
Of
okay,
course.
I've got a show coming up, and the venue manager is like, oh, Sarah, we're so sorry, but you can only play one song. What is the one song that you're picking, either already released or soon to be released?
I would actually perform In Too Deep, 100%.
Get out, really? You're not just saying
Yeah.
that?
No,
Okay.
I 100%.
All right, I'll take it. Why specifically? Do you think it's just like I mean, you're trying to convince someone to listen to you for the rest of their lives with one song, and I don't see it as a bad decision.
I just connect to the lyrics so much. I mean, there are a few songs on my EP that are very special, of course, too. But this song specifically is it's a feeling currently I have, like
Yeah,
it just, I connect to it so deeply. And I feel like other people are definitely feeling the same way, kind of post COVID, things are starting to open up, in careers and just needing a little encouragement right now. So
I
I feel like it'd
agree.
be a good one.
I mean, obviously, in this situation, you're talking about your music and going to back, but in any career and anyone who's really like put their foot in an area that they're uncomfortable with, I think that they can take the lyrics from this song and apply it to themselves. Kind of just
Totally.
gives like the illusion of the song is about me. So
Totally.
that's nice. So we are recording this in March, and I can't believe it's March, but I'm still considering it to be the beginning of this year. So, because it's just time
I
moves
know.
fast. But okay, so what's like the year plan for you? Like what are some lofty goals that you'd like to set for yourself to hopefully accomplish by year's end?
Totally. I'd love to release another EP. So
So keep
hint,
your
hint,
eyes
stay
peeled,
tuned.
guys. Yeah,
I've been really getting inspired by Euphoria and like Labyrinth's music in it. So stay tuned for some cool vibes like that.
cool.
And I'd love to go on tour with someone, like open up for someone. Of course, it's kind of complicated right now because some tours are still getting canceled and whatnot with
Yeah,
COVID. But fingers crossed, that doesn't happen anymore. And I'd love to go on tour more than anything, even just a West Coast tour,
yeah.
because I'm a Portland girl. So go to like Seattle,
Nice,
Portland,
nice.
SF, do LA, San Diego, maybe hit Texas. I don't know, but I would love it.
Cool. And what are some goals that you'd like to set for yourself besides music? Like, how do you plan on bettering yourself as a person this year?
Totally. Well, actually, just started doing training twice a week to be an advocate for Women's Center in East LA, which is for like sexual abuse,
There you
domestic
go.
violence, rape victims. So that's been a passion of mine for a while, trying
Yeah.
to make a difference in LA's communities. So I'm really excited about that. It's 70 hours of training, and I have it
Oh,
Mondays and Wednesdays, and then I get to be on the hotline and take the calls and be an advocate and go into the hospital and help these women just, be support. So
that's huge. I'm really glad I asked. Normally I don't ask that, but holy shit, that's good for you. Wow. You're a
thank
better person
you.
than I am. That's wild.
Thank you.
Well, how long do you have left for your training, if you don't mind me asking?
So I started 2 weeks ago.
Okay, cool.
So I believe my last training's in May.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
Yeah,
I've got a couple more questions for you.
of course.
What are you listening to? Like, what's on your playlist that you just haven't been able to turn off these days? Could be someone more popular, could be even a friend that's also making great music.
Totally. Moxie Raya, she's one of my friends. I always am listening to her. She
Cool
has an
name.
awesome project coming out. Definitely check her out.
Sweet.
I'm always listening to Bonnie Bear and like Coldplay. Who else? Omar Apollo, Dominic Fike, is that how you say, from Euphoria? His
Hmm.
music's so dope. Um, Twin Shadow, my homie, he's amazing. He's
Nice.
on tour right now. Um, I always listen to my friends' music. There's so many
That's no,
people,
that's the
but
support
yeah,
that
that's
no, no,
it.
no, listen, I also could sit here and name a million artists that I'm listening to, but I think there's a good handful
Yeah,
for
all
those who
different
haven't heard of them.
vibes.
Cool. Sarah, I've got one more question to ask you. It's how I like to wrap these up. Basically, the question is for the person that is going to discover you from this, and for the person that is going to listen to your music for the first time, what is an opening message that you'd like to say to them?
Um, Opening message I'd like to say to them. Thank you for your support. um, us artists, especially independent artists, like really depend on new fans, and just thank you so much, and hope to see you in shows soon.
I think that's a perfect opening. Sarah, I want to thank you so much for dropping by and taking the time. And
Thank
I
you so
want
much,
to, yeah,
Austin.
you're so welcome. I want to plug your music, obviously. The song is called In Too Deep, but it also sounds like there's a whole lot more to come and there's a whole lot that's already been released. So we're gonna have links so people can listen and watch and follow and share and do all that stuff. But yeah, if you're ever playing a show in LA, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to go and watch it all happen. But otherwise, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
Thank you so much, Austin. Appreciate
You're very
it.
welcome. Have a great rest of your day and we'll talk soon. Bye
You
bye.
too.